Hey everybody, we're back, and you know what? I haven't done a video specifically on Quant in 2 or 3 weeks, and if you haven't noticed, there's been two huge updates that have happened. Price action has moved. We're kind of, at the time of recording, I think doing a little bit of a retrace. I'll get to that briefly at the end of this video, but if you've heard anything about the new updates of Quant Fusion or Overledger Flow, Quant Flow, didn't know what it was, or you didn't understand, or you simply haven't heard of it yet, that's what I'm going to talk about today. What is each of these? What is fusion? What is flow? Why does it matter? And why did it cause price action to happen? Because good news will only cause price action when people are really in a state to accept good news. I mean, we've had all kinds of great news that happens with Bitcoin and everything in general. And for the longest while, if you think back 3 months, I know short-term memory, we suck at it. We were having good news all the time and nothing turned into any price action of Bitcoin or altcoins in general because we were too fucking afraid of tariffs. Well, something got big enough about Quant that got people excited, and I want to get into that today. So, Quant, they've never advertised towards retail, which I've always kind of thought was a positive. Not many people agree with me. However, they essentially made these two upgrades for banks. Not even essentially, like they made this to run with banks. We'll get into exactly how and why in a few moments, but they wouldn't do this without confidence that it's going to be used. So if you've been sleeping on Quant, keep an eye out. It's going to do very well in this bull run, and especially down the road when regulation and CBDC start to get really used. And we're not talking all that long from now, guys. All right. So in the context of Quant, the Overledger Fusion, this was a major upgrade to the core technology of the Overledger, which is think of as a blockchain interoperability platform. Right. So Overledger Fusion it just significantly enhances how well and how different blockchains are going to be used in a traditional sense with banking. So Quant Flow, the next part of it, it's a new product that was announced again by Quant that builds onto the Overledger platform. And this was aimed at tokenizing all the real world assets, hence the RWA, for institutional use. Again, they've never advertised towards retail. There's a reason for it. They don't generally care, and that's not a negative, right? So this whole flow was designed to help make the process compliant, scalable, so that way as there's more monies coming around, they can handle it and not drop transactions. Solana. And make it as user-friendly as possible, because if it's not simple to just kind of plug and play, so to speak, it's not going to be picked up on a universal scale. So real briefly, in case for some reason you're new to Quant and don't know what the Overledger is, right? It's the core product. It's not a blockchain. Think of it more as a blockchain operating system where it connects a bunch of different blockchains to one spot, connects all those blockchains and financial systems together so they can communicate, transact, share data, and they don't need bridges or wrap tokens, right? This is a big deal. It takes so many middlemen out of the equation, which then you only need Overledger or maybe a backup chain link or something fun like that. Why the hell not? Right? So instead of being competitor to Ethereum or Bitcoin, Overledger is the translator that kind of sits on top of all of the networks, and it allows monies to flow back and forth between every network, enterprises, banks, developers, and they can plug into multiple blockchains at once, safely, securely, no forks or bridges needed. That's why this is such a big deal. And then that was the base. They've upgraded. So I'm going to talk about Fusion and then Flow. So Overledger Fusion essentially just takes the original vision of interoperability that the Overledger had and now makes it production ready. That's the short of it, right? So Fusion allows to write code once, copy paste, use it, so you don't have to use new programming languages when connecting many different crypto, many different CBDCs, fiat, etc., and can instantaneously change everything. It has to be able to run across any connected blockchain. There's a lot of them. There's more essentially every month. Quant is ready for all of that. And you don't have to change a code to set up a new infrastructure. So when there's new layer ones that come out or extended layer ones, or there's going to be layer twos on a layer one, Ethereum, Quant Fusion has it already plug and play ready. So we don't really need updates at this point. Phenomenal. Because now with Flow, no one that's on either side of programming or connecting has to learn the ecosystems of every blockchain. You don't have to learn Solana's programming or Ethereum's program. Overledger Fusion already has it done and set. There's one line of smart contract logic, one interface, covers everything. This is essentially just the gold standard, or going to become the new gold standard of interoperability. This is why I've been so big on Quant before. They're just making me more excited about it, to be completely honest. So the fact that cross-chain transactions without bridges, it saves money on the individual shipping or transacting, which is good, means more people are likely to use it, especially something like a bank that's going to be doing millions of transactions routinely, right? Data sharing, it's all part of communication, makes it easy, and the instantaneous transfers and payments. And even better is that it's all abstracted away from the user, meaning that banks or businesses don't even need to know what chain they're interacting with. Like, you don't have to know, do we have to plug something in or press a different button for it to move from Ethereum to Solana to a CBDC of a digital pound to the dollar? Doesn't matter. It's already able to do it. So it's mindless, which is great. It makes so there's going to be less errors. You take the user component out of it. So fusion simply means, again, just trying to make it sound simple, right? Trying. Right? It means that a CBDC launched on one chain can move to another without any needing to be bridged, burned, no editing, no data translations, no new code. And not only is this just helpful, it's also kind of critical for crypto to go to the scale of using real world money. And with the fact that Quant's already been working with for a while, the Bank of England, several global banks, major consultancies and agencies to make this real, this isn't really even a theory anymore. And some people are still going on to this might happen. I guess we can still technically say might. So now let's get a little bit into Quant Flow, the second big upgrade. So Quant Flow is built on top of Overledger. They've been calling it a layer 2.5. It's not flashy in terms of a DeFi tool or hype generator. Flow is just a smart contract orchestration platform. It's built specifically for banks, asset managers, and central banks to issue, manage, settle, tokenize assets across all blockchains. Again, kind of sounds familiar. It's all about being able to move money seamlessly throughout. No other crypto has something like this. You can go ahead and say Chainlink does. They're trying to. They are now behind. No shade against Chainlink. I like that one. But in terms of CBDC use, specifically in coming up in the next year for Europe, it's looking very likely it's going to be Quant, guys. I consider as much and as confident as I can saying to be Quant because, well, I've been investing in it. I think it's going to be Quant, and they're showing us more and more about it. And unlike most tokenization projects, Flow is already compliant by design. Again, there's no upgrading needing. It's like they did this in mind, like Fusion. The KYC, the AML, the buy the val, audit trails, sanction screenings, all this stuff is already built and set in. So it's kind of already ready for real world regulations, kind of like it would be in a testing protocol for something like the Central Bank of Europe. See previous videos if you didn't get the hint. They're already testing this shit. So if you've already been following Quant, or if you've been able to follow me with this so far, Overledger already solves interoperability. Right? Let systems talk to each other across other chains, but Flow then adds the application layer. So if you think of Overledger as the rails, right? Flow then is now managing the trains, the cargo, and the schedules to make sure everything happens instantaneously, from issuing a bond, automating its interest payments, to settling it to a completely different chain, all in one place, all at one time. No more middleman. One piece of, we'll call it software, right? It's smart contract logic. It's built with a drag and drop style, meaning it works again without needing smart contract developers to go through every single layer 1 or layer 2 chain or bank or institution. This is a big freaking deal, guys. So the big use cases is going to be, and already kind of is, central banks, launching digital currencies. That's the one I'm all excited about. Commercial banks automating syndicated loans. Didn't really think about that one too much until kind of putting all this together, right? Asset managers issuing tokenized real estate or bonds, which means we can use Overledger for far more than CBDCs. Why would they narrow it just to here? BlackRock is pushing behind Ondo, but they also jump in a little bit with Ripple and a couple others. It's not new to it, right? And then Flow can also regulate stable coins so you can move across cross-chain activity, right? Awesome stuff. They have this all set. So everyone else is worried about meme coins. There's reasons why we put it in a quant. Let's look at the charts briefly. So I put up here on TradingView. I went ahead to go with the all-time high because I figured the goal first is for us to get back to all-time high at about 450. Right? In the last 30 days, let's pull that one up real quick. We've had one hello jump, right, guys? Last 30 days, a lot of this big jump has been here in the last like 3 days as of the time of this recording. And we went from floating around 94, again, last, we'll call it week. It's been a little less than a week. We jumped up to 118. Awesome. Currently, we're retracing down around 113, which kind of makes sense. When I put in some Fibonacci levels, which, hey, probably haven't heard me use these words too much, have you? Holding out on you guys. So I went ahead and I plugged in some Fibonacci levels for getting back up to 450. And we're haven't gotten to those resistance levels yet. We're still have to go a little wider for that. But we're looking at the next big level being 170. And I know you're like 170, we haven't hit that in a long ass time. I know. So I put Fibonacci levels to get back up to 150. Let's look at it with a slightly smaller cube, right? So going from 94, which we've already kind of done, up to 150, it's telling us our next resistance zone is about 115. And at the time of recording, we're hitting right around 114, the upper 113s. So we're kind of there. The next level we really got to hit is 122. So you really need to see get close to 122, and the next big number is 128. Honestly, the 122 is the 50% on the fib. I'm looking much more at 128. So we're going to be floating around as long as we hold this resistance around 115. Yeah, 115 can mean 113.64. It can mean 117.2, right? Roughly there. We just want to make sure that we don't drop back down. The next one will probably be around 105. We'll see if we end up going that low or if we stick resistance right here around the 115. Obviously, hoping to stick down here or for us to continue moving. Still putting in weekly just a little buy order every Wednesday. So I guess it would have gone through this morning for me. And looking pretty good about it. What do you guys think? What have you heard about Quant? How deep are you guys into it? How long have you been holding Quant? Because most of Q&T holders have been longer term, at least a year, many at least 3 or more. But curious to hear from you guys. So what do you think? Do you have any questions? Any questions about any of the new upgrades? Try to keep this simple, but I'll gladly go in much more detail with you guys. Let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace.